This is one of the few times I've actually gotten started immediately after starting OBS. Literally, the timer for how long I've been streaming is also the timer for how long OBS has been open on my computer. Anyways. Alright. Let's copy this link. Boom. Bam. Bop. Bada bop. Boom. Ow. Yes. I believe so. Alright. According to the ZPL Discord, according to ZPL himself, there's gonna be an update soon? What do you say, Sunday? Announcements. Yeah. Announcements. Yeah, new Retro Rewind is going to drop on Sunday. He's getting some staff ghosts right now. What are the tracks that are going to be replaced? There's a bunch of tracks getting updated. Ribbon Road and Noko Noko Beach are going to be replaced. Okay, interesting. All right. Yeah. Oh shit, Troy is the staff ghost for Cheap Cheap Beach. That's funny. That's great. Love that. Anyways. Let's fucking go, I guess. I think I'm gonna here, hold on. You get rid of one thing on another TXT document that I had open. Yeah, there's some stuff that's gonna be on the list until I can finish editing my videos that I have like in the editor right now. Do some Flame Runner gameplay again, just cause. And then after that, after I finish editing all of the stuff that I wanted to edit, here, let me turn this up to 2. After I finish editing all the stuff that I wanted to edit from like the last few streams, once I'm done editing the DNC reaction stuff, let's see, what do I have in. Let me open DaVinci Resolve to see what all I have in the form of projects that I need to worry about. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. There's a lot of editing that I have to do, but rest assured, I am going to move forward with some of the plans I had for the channel. I just finished the short video about somebody cheating in a Mario Kart room, and, you know, that shit gets pretty quickly taken care of. The Mini Beast video, RFK Jr., the DNC, and then some, like, DNC retrospective thoughts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, there's, like, 4 videos that I have currently in editing that I want to get through. And in fact, I've been thinking about shifting my focus, if in a professional sense, more to my stream, because I think if I dedicate some very active effort, if I do some research off stream into what kind of content usually makes for good Twitch streams, what's good for attracting new viewers, or basically like how the algorithm favors certain content both on Twitch and on YouTube, and look at some of those statistics, then I'll be able to grow my channel to the point where I might start getting a little bit more regular payouts. I remembered I was looking through my emails. I clean my email every once in a while. And I remember a little while ago, I actually did get a Twitch payout back in May of this year. So, you know, if I can keep streaming such that I keep getting those payouts, then I'd be really happy with that. Because right now I'm having to split my attention a lot of different ways, you know? And I feel like if more of my attention was on streaming, then I'd be able to make it like more central to my life. It's a little bit of like the reverse self-fulfilling prophecy thing, where me shifting my focus away from streaming, and like whether or not streaming is viable are like interconnected with each other, if that makes sense. Anyways, suffice it to say, based on, you know, you could probably tell just based on the way I'm talking, I feel a lot better today than I did on Monday. Monday was it was a bad day. It got quite a bit better near the end of the day. When I did my phone banking, my volunteering with nonpartisan political group. But you know, otherwise not the best day. So give me this box. 3 mushrooms. Cool. I was gonna say I want to hold on to that mushroom, but I couldn't exactly do that. Okay, banana. That's a good thing to get right here. Didn't get the trick. I swear the speed requirement for you to be able to trick is always just a little bit higher than I remember it being. You know? Okay. Relatively clean first place. Some good driving there. Let's keep going. And I will talk about something that's in the title of the stream. So, anybody know a guy by the name of Emmanuel Macron? He's you know, he's not a great pet sitter, but he's a good friend of mine. So if you guys could tell him to you know, you gotta feed the cat regularly. Next time he comes over, I'll have to let him know. Anyways, he's also, you know, on the side, he's also the president of France, you know. Probably why he's not the greatest pet sitter in the world. Anyways, he's been getting up to some skullduggery in the French government lately, as liberals are known to do. Liberals generally getting up to skullduggery in many governments the world around. And in this case, the skullduggery happens to align with the fascists in France. You know, liberals never want to shy away with from coalition building with the absolute worst elements of the far right. Not that the far right has any particularly not bad elements, but you know what I mean. So, a while ago, and by a while ago I mean like more than a month, it was before the Olympics even, the left in France very hastily organized and put up a pretty good showing in the French parliamentary elections. In fact, they won those elections in relative terms. They didn't get a majority. No party got a majority in the legislature there, but the left had the most seats out of any party. So of course the time came. I somehow pulled a blue shell in second, and then a red shell in fifth. Very cool. You know, the left was like, all right, time to nominate a prime minister, time to get a prime minister for the government here. But Macron responded by saying, Lamau, lol, Lamau even, again. and decided to sort of stall. Macron, I kind of predicted that Macron would do something like this, where any alliance the liberals and the left had was strictly on the campaign trail, and Macron was break all of his promises as soon as the election was over and done with. And of course, that's what he did. He's trying to maintain his own spot as like the leader of France, both in terms of him being president and also him sort of in some way controlling the parliament. Even though he does not have the most seats out of any party, or his party doesn't, the Liberal Party, the Macroni, as they call them. So he's been very obstinate in the negotiations with the left, and he's been palling around with the far right, basically stalling out the process of forming a government. A governing coalition still has not formed in the French government. It reminds me quite a bit of the Dutch government, except instead of the far right not being able to form a government, instead it's the liberals dragging everybody else down with them. It's been known to happen. And this is one of the prerogatives of liberals, is that they tend to align more closely with the far right than they do with the left. They a lot of times will recognize that it can be beneficial on the campaign trail to sort of go against the far right to like win the election or whatever. But the left has a lot of political goals that are fundamentally incompatible with liberalism. The left being very critical of capitalism, the far right wanting to double down on capitalism. Liberals more often side with the far right than with liberals, or than the left, as it were. And so that's where France is right now. It's been over a month. The Olympics have happened, and they still don't have a government because of Emmanuel Macron. And the left is getting pretty frustrated. The left had a pretty good candidate for this too. They had there was a French economist that they said, like, yeah, this will be our prime ministerial candidate. We think she would be a good prime minister. But Macron decided, like, nah, fuck you, actually. I missed the sand hop 3 for 3. I'm very rusty today. Alright. Give me an item. Nice. I'm gonna start using this. Oh. That was a good spot to use those. I would love to get a 4th plate box. Yes. Almost got first. A little bit of lag there, but yeah. Good finish. Pretty sloppy racing, though, by me. If I go to this news story here. In fact, I think the deal breaker, I've seen some people alluding to this. I don't know if they don't mention it in this article. I'm sure one of the big sticking points and or points of friction in these negotiations was the age of retirement. Remember, that was a big part of the left's platform. This is probably where a lot of that likelihood of the liberals aligning with the far right comes in, is that the liberals have been in charge of the country for the past 10-ish years. Not 10 years. It's more like 7 years. 7 years. And their platform has been one of economic austerity. Gutting social services, privatizing public transit, and also, most recently and most infamously, reducing the, or not reducing, raising the retirement age as sort of a measure to cut the French Social Security. And the left was like, yeah, we want to reverse those cuts, and also we want to massively raise taxes on the wealthy. You know, Macron can't really be too happy with that, I don't think. I don't think that shortcut is possible, Shroomless. Yeah, you have to have, like, a star or something. I have a mushroom here. I'm almost positive there's gonna be a shock. Yep. How did I fucking know? Future me, clip that shit. I have the gift of clairvoyance. Okay. Third place. Eight players? If it's actually 8 players, I'll stay with it. But if the room gets smaller, if it stays at 6 players or, like, drops to 5, I'll probably leave after this race. Here, hold on. It's prime. Maybe? Okay, 7 people. That's larger than the last race. Hmm. Yeah, no, there's not a whole lot I can see from... Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. I should have mentioned as well. I didn't know the full details on this before just now. The way that Macron rejected the PM pick, they vote. I think they vote in a PM. There's like a parliamentary vote on who gets to be the prime minister in France. And the reason that the left candidate was rejected is because of that alliance with the far right. So like me saying that liberals tend to align with the far right is not speculation. That is literally what happened and why France still doesn't have a prime minister, because Macron decided that he would rather have like the far right in his camp than the left. Really big fan of this rendition of Peach Circuit, gotta say. There we go. Got the flip drift. Did I get somebody? Maybe? Got Ivan. 4th place? 2nd place. Must be lagging pretty bad. Sure. Look, this is some good racing, if nothing else. I've been driving pretty well. Go back to Politico. What else I got? Yeah, it seems like that's it. The me talking about the French government having stalled, that's basically where we are right now. Nothing has really happened since then. There's still not a government that that formed. The French still haven't formed a government. And Macron continues to thumb his nose at the left parties and shit, and pal around with the far right. So I guess we're getting the classic, he hates the left more than he hates the far right, or something like that. Or maybe it's possible also that this isn't necessarily informed entirely by ideology, but rather by Macron being very egomaniacal and having, like, wanting to retain power for himself. It's kind of like, you know, the, like, play all sides, our plans are measured in centuries bit, but Macron isn't actually that good at that. He's trying to, like, have the cake and eat it too, basically. I didn't realize I was going to get a mushroom there. I just spammed it. Oh, that's good. I want to save this for the shortcut. Very sloppy. Didn't even save all that much time, and I'm gonna fall off. Yeah. Here I am in the same position as last lap. Except even further behind, and I didn't get an item. I think whatever happens, I need this. Okay, Bullet Bill. I'm in 7th, so nobody has the shock. Right? I don't think you can get the shock in... Well, maybe you can, but... I'm just going to use this here to hope it'll get me up to, like, 3rd or 2nd. And alright, wish granted. And I get a box. Oh, 3 mushrooms. Oh, baby. Know where I want to use this. That's good. Cool. Again, kind of sloppy driving there. I didn't get the sand hop, but still got first. Cleaned it up a lot at the end with item usage and stuff. For 11 players, I'll stick with it. I also saw something really cool recently. This has political implications because of, well, you're about to find out why. But it's just plain old cool. Sometimes I'll see some news about, like, a scientific breakthrough and whatever. I saw a bunch of news when the James Webb Telescope launched. really love that. I love deep space imagery and the science of space and how things interact. You know, big enjoyer of that sort of astrophysics. But I also sometimes I'll just hear random news about like medical advancements because news outlets tend to cover that as well. You know, and one of them recently, one thing I heard recently covered was a new anti-aging pill just dropped. Apparently, there's this has been, you know, ongoing research. People have been researching like stem cells and how to alter or repair or extend the life of stem cells with the hope that they could one day cure cancer. One of the like crowning achievements of humanity, if it ever were to happen, like unambiguously so, right? Um, but recently I found I saw in my newsfeed they'd actually apparently they'd made a breakthrough. Like they actually got an anti-aging pill to work, if you can believe it. They were testing this on dogs. These were not to worry. It wasn't like they got some young puppies and whatever and just decided to have them be guinea pigs. No, these were dogs with like advanced chronic and in most cases incurable medical conditions. I think one dog had like was very old and had was ailed with cancer, and another one had like arthritis or something. So it was like the dogs were gonna die anyway. You may as well try uh, something experimental to save them. So they tried. They were doing this as a sort of early form of clinical trials for this anti-aging pill, um, and it worked, if you can believe it. The dogs like started to have some of their signs of disease reversed. Like the dog that had cancer had started to grow into the phase where like it had metastasized. They were losing their appetite. The dog didn't have much time left. And then when they took the anti-aging pill, their energy started to come back. They had an appetite again. They were ready to play. They were acting like a much younger dog, which was quite interesting to me. And then similarly, the dog that was arthritic started to regain a lot of energy as well. They were able to move again. They were able to walk again and stuff like that. It seemed like these anti-aging pills by I think I'm obviously I'm not a biologist or like genetic engineer, like whatever the fuck. I'm not the kind of person who is qualified to talk about the science of this, but if I remember right, it had something to do with there were certain agents or whatever in this drug that basically they were trying to figure a way to extend the life of stem cells. Some of what happens to people and animals in old age, the reason we get sick a lot easier is because stem cells are responsible for repairing and upkeep in our body. And those stem cells, they like grow shorter and shorter, or they get damaged over time. There's a certain cap on the stem cells or whatever. Some part of those stem cells is like grows shorter or becomes damaged over time, and that results in us getting sick a lot easier, getting a lot more vulnerable in old age. Literally, the aging process is because of the deterioration of our stem cells in some form. But by addressing the deterioration of those stem cells, you can slow or even reverse the aging process. If you're able to repair those stem cells, then your body is going to act as though it's a lot younger. Because it's like, oh, I'm 24 years old, so my stem cells are in a certain state where if I'm like 48 or 72 years old, my stem cells will be in slightly worse or somewhat worse shape than they are right now. If you can fix that, you essentially extend life for a very, very long time. You know? And for one, obviously, this is a major breakthrough in treatments of cancer, in treatments of chronic diseases like arthritis and other such things. Because if you can do that, then you're essentially you're getting the body to do the brunt of the work for you. You just have to know how to tell the body what to do. Um, you know, and then that applies to so many other things as well that it could effectively, it could get us into a comparable situation to like a Star Trek kind of a future where people live till they're hundreds of years old or whatever. And, people might not be ready for that, but I think it's really cool. I love the idea of living such a long life and being able to enjoy so much of it, you know? Sorry, I did it for the content. It was not personal. I just wanted something funny. I'm gonna throw these both back here. Oh, jeez. Ah, no! Exactly what I didn't want to happen. I shouldn't have done that. I just wanted to throw them both back so I could be able to use these mushrooms. Whoever that Daisy player is, I'm really sorry. There we go. Oh, that's a way better version of that shortcut to take. You got a mushroom? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Second place. Only 7 people? Huh. Okay. I think I'm gonna leave this room. Oh, cool. We got a bunch of people. Talk to many such cases. That's so true. Layer. On a tangentially related subject, or actually, no, I shouldn't even get to that yet. I mentioned that this is going to have some sort of political implications, and I want to touch on those real quick. Everybody knows the meme about the United States not having healthcare. This would apply to the anti-aging pill as well. Make no mistake, if the US doesn't get a single payer system by the time that this drug is viable for commercial distribution, or pedestrian, like over the counter, whatever, or prescription distribution, then we will have to pay an arm or the leg for this, because the demand for it is going to be so high. And if you think about it, this being the new standard, if this were to, like, assuming this gets through clinical trials and they do actually figure out a way to, this is ends up being a proven way to get your stem cells to be able to repair your body much longer and get people to live much longer, then that means that this is going to be an essential drug. It's going to be a life-saving, life-extending drug for which there's going to be inelastic demand. Think of all the medical advancements that we previously didn't have but now have that are inelastic because the standard is now set at that level. If you don't have those, you will die. If you don't have an epinephrine pen, like an epinephrine injection, as somebody who is very allergic to something, then if you encounter that allergy, you will die. We didn't used to have EpiPens, but now we do. So you have to be able to have access to modern medicine. When this becomes part of modern medicine, the demand for it is going to be inelastic. People will, it'll be so essential to living that there's no length to which people wouldn't go to get it. So if you still have this very market-driven, profit-driven medical system, then they're just going to charge $1 more billion per pill or per injection or however this gets administered at the point of like somebody using it, right? But if the if the super spooky hand of big government intervenes, then we wouldn't need to worry about that, because the government. I have some hope for this because the government recently has been more willing to negotiate certain drug prices for stuff like insulin. But if the government negotiates prices for this drug, or we have some sort of single payer system or what have you, then this is gonna be it's gonna be great. But we need that system to make that happen. Otherwise, there is no incentive for companies not to charge like so much money for a drug that would literally make you live longer. Imagine grandma has cancer and you need the new stem cell treatment, and they're like, sorry, no, it costs $30,000 per treatment. It's like, fuck, dude. Getting at him. Give me mushroom. Thank you. I would like an item box too, if it's not too much to ask. Okay, thank you. 3 mushrooms. I can work with that, I guess. 4th place. Okay. That is the political relevance of a drug like this in the United States. I should specify, because that's in the US where we're haggling over, do we have to pay 1 arm and 1/2 of a leg for a drug, or do we not have to pay, as God intended, because we have the artifice of the state available to make the cost less. But this has implications for other countries as well. I have no doubt that the United States has done this before. We will do this again with this drug. I have no doubt that this is going to be gatekept behind a paywall for other countries as well. This was one of the most dastardly things that the United States did during the pandemic. We refused to give the patent for the vaccine for COVID to other countries. We, the United States, made the COVID crisis worse knowingly. As a set of policy decisions, the United States made an ongoing health crisis even worse because we wanted to maintain the relationship, the highly exploitative relationship that we had with countries in the global south, whereby they were financially dependent on us and we're able to fleece money from them. We, as a Western country with businesses that are headquartered here, etc., and with a hypothetical anti-aging pill or just a all-purpose like prevent chronic disease in old age pill, things would be no different. In fact, I have no doubt that this dynamic would be cranked up to 11, pending some sort of, potentially some sort of massive political discourse on the world stage, right? Because, like, the United States could just as easily refuse to sell or give the drug to a lot of countries we don't like, countries in the third world. If the United States is very guarded and very snakish about who we allow to have this kind of drug, then it could have potentially disastrous consequences for economic development in other parts of the world, precisely because it is that much of a gap now between the standards set in wealthy countries versus the standards set in poor countries. This at a time when actually, despite the way things seem, a lot of countries in the third world are starting to catch up a little bit, at the very least, to countries in the global north. And I use third world and global south interchangeably because third world just rolls off the tongue really easily. No offense to anybody who's from any of those countries or whatever, although even so, you shouldn't be taking offense because they're just nation states, Whatever. Look, the point is that this could be good, but there are a lot of political flaws in the system of the United States and economic flaws in the system of the United States and the rest of the world that could make this have some really bad consequences too, what would otherwise be an unambiguously good development. Jesus, I'm figuring out here how poorly the Flame Runner controls relative to other vehicles. I get wheelie locks so much easier. Mega Mushroom. There we go. That's how you're supposed to do that. Good stuff. Third place. Although I gotta say, most of my good placements today have been a product of me sort of running it from behind rather than driving very consistently. Apart from the first race of the day, which is unfortunate. Try to shape up a little bit. And now I can talk about the other thing that's like very tangentially related. It does have to do with modern technological advancements, or the way in which life is very different today compared to what? Hundreds of years ago? 1,000 years ago? Thousands, plural, of years ago? I was just thinking about, like, in the Middle Ages, it wouldn't be uncommon for somebody like me, a young guy, to just sign up to be a part of the army, the local army, or the local fighting force, and you just go on a bunch of raids, or you fight a bunch of battles, and you like die. Because back in the day, people like didn't have anything better to do. Like, that was their recreational activity, was fucking killing each other with very sharp sticks. You know? How far we've come, really. Despite all of the, exploitation and whatever that's inherent to a system of capitalism and private ownership or whatever, things are a lot better now than they were in the Middle Ages from a material circumstances perspective. Okay, maybe this one I can play from the front. Because I was thinking about it. Yesterday's warriors are today's like professional athletes and gamers, and some of them soldiers for sure. Like some of the people who were like warriors in the Middle Ages or whatever would be the equivalent of soldiers now. But a lot of the sort of combat just for fun that people used to engage in the Middle Ages has more or less turned into recreational gaming and like sports nowadays, like where it's a sort of ritualized, abstracted version of warfare where you have one team versus another, but the stakes are relatively low in the sense that you're not trying to literally decapitate each other. And, you both everybody gets to go home at the end of the day. I didn't get him. Pass, yeah. Good thing is I can use that guy for reference as to when I was going to get big again. That's unfortunate. Didn't get a box. Take the inside line. I know you really want to hit me, but not worth it. If I can, I'm hoping to... Well, I was going to say if I can, I'm hoping to sneak another placement, but whatever. It's fine. So, I guess what I'm saying is I'm glad to be here playing Mario Kart Wii against a bunch of other random people and doing commentary into a microphone and camera today, rather than being stuck in some godforsaken bog in fucking northern England or like central Mexico or fucking Eastern Europe somewhere, uh with a spear in my hand, walking into almost certain death uh at the hands of somebody from like a fucking neighboring town that has done absolutely nothing to me, you know? Ninja Hideaway. This is... Oh, yeah, okay, I know this track. This is not a Flame Runner track, let me tell you. Believe you me, this is a mock bike track if ever there was one. Didn't get the best start up there. I did not get an item either. I hit the wall. Yeah, get me up there. Ah. Dang, pow. Well, that killed a lot of people, though. I think. Bouncy track. Bumpy track. Alright, alright. I got a mushroom. That's pretty good. Ow. Flame Runner's just not as maneuverable. I'm gonna chain this. Good chain. Front of this. And I think I'm gonna go up here. Oh, I dodged in the cannon. Very nice. Thank you. Very cool. Now, Bick, don't do something that we're both gonna regret here. Please. I'd appreciate that. Okay, hit the ball. I'm bouncing all over the place. Alright, I'm gonna chain this here. Alright, very messy fourth place, but it works. That track is kind of hard to translate into Mario Kart Wii because it's already kind of rough in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is the game where I think it fits the best. You know what it feels like? Oh, it feels like, who was here for the distributions of CTGP where Heart of China was still a track in the pack? Anybody remember that one? That's what Ninja Hideaway feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's not as user hostile as Heart of China was, and in fact, there are some ways in which I actually prefer Heart of China, but they give me kind of a similar feeling. There are some commonalities between the two. Obviously, the theming for one, and then the fact that there are multiple routes that can make the track kind of confusing for two. The general bumpiness for another one, you know. Yeah, that track kind of reminds me of that. I don't know how you would make a track like that not bumpy, because like I said, it's like that in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So if you're trying to make a faithful interpretation, you kind of have to have it be a not very good track, because it's not a very good track in 8 Deluxe either. But I guess if you wanted to make that a better track, like if you're taking some liberties, I think you actually might want to reduce the number of tricks that are just in random spots and sort of make it a little bit less bumpy, maybe scale it up a little bit, because it feels very cramped at some points. Like that turn at the last point almost feels like you're not supposed to be able to make the turn. Um, yeah. In some places it feels like Peach Gardens, where the shapes just kind of happen to resemble something that could be used as a racetrack, but it doesn't really feel like it was designed to really be a racetrack. And that's more critique on the original design itself from Nintendo. You know? Because like I said, any interpretation of that is probably going to have some of the same flaws as the original version of the track. And I like the item that I have right now. I like that a lot. I think I know where I want to use it too. Something like this. And then something like this. I think this will be enough to take me to the shortcut right around the corner here. If I don't hit a million walls. I fucked it up, but it was almost enough. I think both of us got a 7th place box, funnily enough. Ow! Christ. To make matters worse, I didn't even get to use my star. So I landed right on top of it. Only got 3 mushrooms? Wow. A bomb, you say? Okay, well. I'm surprised that mushroom didn't result in me shooting off into the grass. Kind of. 1 red shell in 5th. I'm just gonna chuck this. Player, you can go on ahead of me if you want. No! Bad race. Why I don't like the Flame Runner too much, folks. A lot of the mistakes that I made that race were a product of me being on Flame Runner. The Mach Bike is just a little bit smaller and more maneuverable. But I'm sticking with it because I like Dragonite. I guess it's just a matter of like me feeling a certain character one day or another. I'm feeling the Dragonite today. We'll see who I'm feeling another day. Yeah. Oh yeah, one thing I want to mention as well. This just came up because I was editing a video where I provided some retrospective thoughts on the DNC earlier this morning. And I got to the part where I was talking about, like, liberals having opposed various historical movements and stuff. And the question then I imagine would arise for some people, like, well then, if conservatives obviously don't support civil rights and social rights movements, and if liberals don't support them, then who supports them? Well, for one, up until, like, the 18-somethings, liberals were kind of like the vanguard of the left, right? Like, liberals were some of the biggest fighting forces in the French Revolution and stuff like that. But then for anything that comes around in the days of, like, the abolitionist movement or afterwards, the main progressives that you're going to be seeing, the people who are proponents of that movement, are either on the very leftward end of liberalism. There are some liberals that are socially progressive enough in the time and critical enough in the time, have a good enough critical lens of analysis to acknowledge, basically to know what's good. But most of the people who have been the movers and shakers throughout history for a lot of working class movements have been, well, the working class, and a lot of their ideological proponents. The socialists did a lot for the organizing of the abolitionist movement in the 19th century. The socialists were, like, spearheading the civil rights movement in the 20th century. Dr. King himself was a socialist, as was Malcolm X. At least I believe so. When Malcolm X wasn't having his very problematic black supremacist ethno-state days with the Nation of Islam, he was saying some very socialist adjacent things. And then a lot of the student protesters against the Vietnam War were socialists. A lot of the anti-war protesters in the 2000s were socialists as well. Um, and John Brown himself, lest we forget. You know that shirt I have that says John Brown Trans Rights Hotel Trivago? Banger of a shirt. I'm so glad I had that idea to make that. John Brown himself was a radical socialist in the 1850s. The raid on Harper's Ferry was a an effort basically to start a national slave exodus where they would, I think, I'm probably butchering this. You can go watch Atun Shea's video on John Brown to learn more about this. Very cool YouTuber. He wanted to basically take a bunch of people, go around, free a bunch of slaves, move up north to Canada, and start essentially a freedman's anarchist, like, socialist state where all property was held in common. There's even a draft of the constitution of this hypothetical new country that he wanted to found with his comrades, where they explicitly say that all property will be held in common. There will be no such thing as private property. You know? But again, the big thing is, like, it's not like some sort of essentialist thing. It just happens to be the case that a lot of liberals are idealists in the philosophical sense, in that they reject or at least don't adhere to a materialist critical analysis of history, and rather analyze it along spiritual and idealistic lines that have nothing to do with material circumstances, you know? Think the Obama type of speeches of the truth of the light of the way of the American people and the spirit of the whatever, right? That's been kind of the default mode of analysis for a lot of liberals throughout history. And that's what kind of leads them to not support a lot of civil rights movements, because a lot of civil rights movements and economic movement, like left-wing economic movements and working class movements and whatever, are very materially grounded and have much more to do with the distribution of resources than some sort of idealized image of I don't know, something. Get rid of that. I didn't want to be mean to that poor bastard on Dry Bones there. That me throwing that red shell backwards was a deliberate choice, so I didn't red shell that guy on the was it the bit bike, or the, no, he's on the standard bike. No, it's the bit bike, the zip zip. Wait, no, bit bike. Yeah. Ah, very good item. Again, one of those tracks where I had to play it from behind. I want to get a good race as on the Flame Runner where I'm in the front reliably. I feel like my driving skills should be able to handle that. But again, it's bigger, it's a little bit less maneuverable. Yeah. I'm gonna keep voting random. I think when I get that one race where I'm racing really well, I'm able to, like, get myself in the Flame Runner headspace and just kind of front run. Even if I'm not front running in first, if I front run the whole time, I think I'll be happy with that, and I will be comfortable calling this a success. Yeah. Vanilla Lake. Right? Get an item here. So far, so good. I didn't know you can drive on this. Ah. Somebody hit that, please? I don't know if I got anybody. Alright, so far, so good. Alright. Still front running, I'm just in second as opposed to first. I'm gonna keep going like this. That could pose a problem. Unless I do this. Haha. Ooh. Alright. Second place it is. That was good. I'm pretty happy with that race as what I was talking about, where I just sort of lock in. You know? Ooh, you know what might be a good idea? Okay. Like I said, I have some video segments to edit, and then after that, I can do the live stream where I react to, I think, the Destiny versus Dennis Prager debate, which I just want to use to hammer home how fucking weird conservatives are, just for fun. Because I like doing the debate reacts and sort of analyzing that stuff. And in fact, I think now is like a good time to reach the olive branch to liberals if they're willing to agree with the left on certain points, like union organization, like building affordable housing. Some of the key issues, you know, that could be part of the political discourse in the coming years. You know, basically tactical Destiny debate review to, you know, to introduce people both to his politics and my politics. You'll have all three. This is probably, it's good for having all three major ideologies in the same video. Destiny is a liberal, not a socialist or a fascist. Dennis Prager is a fascist, not a liberal or a socialist. And I am a socialist, not a liberal or a fascist. You know, obviously, you know, within some ideologies, there will be overlap. There's overlap between socialism and liberalism. There's overlap between liberalism and fascism and all that sort of stuff. But it's good. I think it just is good politics, good YouTube politics content. You know. Bullet bill? Okay. Oh, I know how to do that section, huh? No way! That was such a good target shock. Wow. Lap 2. Get somebody? No. Halfway. Oh! He got shocked, though. I'm gonna get big before him. Yeah. Didn't gain much ground, though. Oh! Barely. Alright. Well, there's a blue shell coming, so. The shock? No. Okay. Gonna say, how crazy would it be if there were 2 target shocks in one race? That was really good. That was really good driving at the front as the Flame Runner on an otherwise very mock bike oriented track. And I got first. In fact, I might change combo to somebody on the mock bike. Maybe. No, you know what? I think I like the Flame Runner just for how it looks this time. I'll stick with the Flame Runner for the remainder of stream. Yeah. That's what's up. What else? Let me actually... Should is a strong word. I'm going to check my news feed to see if there's anything else interesting that I wanted to talk about that I didn't write down because I don't know, too forgetful this morning or something. Oh yeah, I could go into a little bit how the mainstream news is not to be trusted, nor is any news outlet for that matter. Not from a conspiratorial perspective, which I don't really know what the conspiratorial perspective is beyond the news is all owned by the Jews or something. But it is the case that the news is owned by the people who own the news, and it's owned privately. You know, many such cases. This is a private ownership system, you know, shareholders and whatnot. And there are certain incentives there that will motivate the news to be more right-wing than what the average American believes, and will motivate it to retreat into reactionism. That's part of why they gave Donald Trump so much coverage, is that the news did have kind of a preference for Donald Trump, and they still do. I think a lot of the people who own news outlets would much prefer Donald Trump to win, or at least their pocketbooks would. And that is a very overriding interest in a lot of cases. Why do I bring this up? Well, it's because recently on CNN there was a panel. You know, sometimes they do focus groups where they have a bunch of people, and they ask them their views on political questions. This is one of the forms of polling that is much more honest in the sense of, you know, we're not necessarily getting a very nationally representative sample because that's not our objective here. Our objective is to get a much more in-depth look with some people on these political issues. You know, it's a more qualitative form of political research, right? So they had, I believe, 6 people who were purportedly undecided voters before the DNC, and they interviewed them about their stances before and after the DNC. 6, I think 4, no, it was 8 people, and it was 6 of them said after the DNC that they would be voting for Kamala Harris now, and then one of them said they were still undecided, and then one of them said that after the DNC, you know, Kamala Harris just doesn't have the stuff, and I'm going to be voting for Donald Trump. The DNC convinced me to vote for Trump. And I was like, now hang on. That's really sus. First of all, because nobody would watch the DNC and come away with that impression who didn't have any sort of political opinions on anything. And for 2, because this was specifically it was a black guy saying this, and you know, this is not to be racially essentialist, but usually I think people in the black community are pretty aware of how much of a fucking racist Donald Trump is and how much he hates black people in particular. So that piqued my interest a little bit. So it came out a little bit afterwards, funnily enough, that this guy was not in fact an undecided voter, but rather was a Trump supporter masquerading as an undecided voter who just kind of got into this CNN focus group for some reason. In fact, there's videos of him out there wearing a Blacks for Trump t-shirt and looking at people as they pass him with a shit-eating smile on his face, expecting them to comment on it or whatever. Really pick-me sort of behavior, right? And the incentive there, I guess, is and he was, I think he was the only black guy on this panel too. So a very gamer move from CNN to be like, yeah, actually, Trump is resonating with the black community. You can tell because we handpicked this one black guy who supported Trump before to talk about how now he supports Trump. You can see why I say you should be distrustful of the news. The CNN is one of the biggest news orgs in the fucking country, right? They have the money to do their homework. They chose not to do their homework. In fact, I'm willing to bet what happened was they did their homework and decided, fuck it, we'll take this guy who's a Trump supporter just so we can, like, confuse the audience or, like, rile them up a little bit, get some nice clickbait for the news headlines. Or even potentially to sort of sow the seeds of growing new Trump supporters, as it were. Because, like I said, Trump is good for CNN's pocketbooks. As much as he talks shit about CNN, he and CNN are of the same ilk. They are both of the owning class. And they have very similar interests. Snow Panic. Boy. Oh, I think I know this track. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Okay, not what I was thinking of, but yeah. No, I tried to do the thing where I just drive straight for fucking forever. Oh, dude, there's some people on inside drifting carts, or at least one guy. That's sick. Yo, what's up, random 30k? I'm kind of slacking on this race as well. There we go. Okay, I think I know where I want to save these for. As long as he doesn't hit me with any of those red shells. Yeah, okay, cool. Save him for here. There's first and second. That's a lot of bananas. Green item, please. Thank you. What? A star dropped out of that? That's crazy. That's kind of what you get when you, like, take over first so aggressively when the guy in first is holding a red shell. I'm holding on to this green shell. Kind of. Alright. We're good, we're good. Whew. A lot of people on dry bones, funnily enough. You know what I gotta do? Gotta think about what character I'm gonna go. If not Dragonite, who would I play as today? I could do the Mimok Classic. Nah. It's gonna be same old, same old. What else is on my newsfeed? Is that focus group? What else? the absolute state of the discourse in Israel still. Yeah, you remember how I said that, like, the state of the discourse in Israel is now, like, yeah, we should have the right to rape Palestinian prisoners. That's gotten worse. And now, like, more people believe that. This is not Miro. This is... Oh, this is, Cheeseland. Okay. Right? No. Not Cheeseland. Something else. Yoshi Desert? Okay, I got a mushroom. Got a big mushroom. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for dodging me, whoever that was. Dang. So far, so good. Don't... God! Oh, that's what I meant by less maneuverable. I have a bigger hitbox. I was literally saying don't hit the pokies as I hit the pokey. I'm gonna get everybody after the boxes here. Give me that. Oh, yeah. Oh, baby. Nice. I got hit before the boxes, so I can take this. Really not driving super well on this track. Okay. I could have done a lot better. Again, it's the margins of error for the Flame Runner coming back to bite me every single time. Oh, yeah. State of the Israel-Palestine discourse. I mentioned before that, like, people were in Israel. There was protests for the right to rape Palestinian prisoners. That has now escalated to the point that the soldier who actually did that, not protest for it, but actually did it, has been elevated in Israeli media outlets now to the point that they are a celebrity. And it is now a mainstream political opinion. It's not anymore the purview of the fringes in Israel that you should be allowed to just rape Palestinian prisoners. Fucked up. And this is what you get when you have a country that is, well, an ethno-state. This is what ethno-states inevitably produce, is a massive, like, humanitarian nightmare for any ethnic minorities that live in the area. And then also, in the case of Israel, this is what happens when Israel's just allowed to get away with all the shit in the world, and the United States continues to provide them weapons with no, like, absolutely no conditions whatsoever. Like, do you guys remember when invading Rafah was a red line? You know, that's how much red lines mean to the United States when we're talking about Israel here. Fucked up. You know, and I need to hammer this home. The only reason that Israel is as genocidal as they are, the only reason that the discourse in Israel is as, like, disgusting and genocidal and, like, insane as it is right now, is because the United States has allowed it to get to this point. If we had a more active hand in reining Israel in, because they are our military base, we get to tell them what to do. You know, don't know if the Biden admin got the memo on that. Then, like, they wouldn't be engaging in this sort of behavior. If there are consequences for engaging in genocidal behavior, countries do not engage in genocidal behavior. The only reason that Israel is doing this is that they feel like they can get away with it, and they might be right, because the United States thus far has not been willing to say, hey, look, no more weapons for you, Bucko, until you shape up and like stop mistreating Palestinian prisoners, until you pull out of the Gaza Strip, pull out of the West Bank, and start like coming to the table to negotiate Palestinian statehood, this like a state of Palestine. You know, the U.S. can just do that, and the problem would be like on its way to being solved tomorrow. But the U.S. doesn't do that because we like basically we just don't feel like it. Like the government just doesn't feel like solving the problem, so it will remain unsolved. You know, strongest country, most powerful country in the world, wealthiest country in the history of the world, and like, you know, the liberals in government are throwing their hands up whenever Israel is like, you know, massacres a bunch of kids. You know, whenever they find a 3-year-old Palestinian child with a sniper bullet wound in their forehead, and America like throws its hands up and says, "Whoa, what are we supposed to do? Not give Israel the weapons to murder children?" Like, yeah, actually, that is what you're supposed to do. Oh, he got me. That's a really good block for that shortcut. Got the person behind me? That's kind of crazy. I must be lagging pretty bad. And I know a lot of people in government are, for whatever reason, sold on the line that Israel's our best ally in the Middle East. Motherfucker, we would have better luck forging an allyship with Iran than with Israel. And I'm not kidding when I say that. Israel has been nothing but a detriment to stability in the Middle East. They've been like basically the sole cause of all of the like massive flare-ups and conflict as of late, you know? Got to normalize those relations, man. Like to adopt, you know, the framing that's 1v3 gave me one time. Like the U.S. can take any country that it wants and turn it into a top tier country, right? Like the United States could say friendship ended with Israel. Now Iraq is my homie, and then awesome. Now Iraq gets to have all the U.S. money for development and shit, and like they move closer to our sphere of influence instead of Iran. And you know, Israel's like, what the fuck? You know, what about me? And we're like, sorry, we don't need you anymore. Tough shit. And Israel would change its behavior real fucking quick. And Iraq would probably be a better ally because they'd be more receptive. They'd be less insane. And they would actually do what we tell them to do. And I'm not going to do like, a lot of people would probably say like, wow, you know, supporting U.S. intervention. I support U.S. intervention when it has the opportunity to limit the amount of damage done or beget positive consequences. Basically, the consequences of the U.S. not telling Israel to calm the fuck down, otherwise no weapons for you, are worse than the consequences of us being like, yeah, sure, whatever, man. Because we've seen the circumstances where the U.S. is willing to intervene versus where we're not. We're not willing to intervene where somebody's committing a genocide because we would, you know, we would usually be the ones in that position. But when, you know, when a leftist gets democratically elected in Latin America, the U.S. like jumps into action or some shit. You know, granted, that hasn't been happening very much as of late. You know, credit to the United States for being so limp-wristed that we can't even do that anymore. Or credit, I guess, to the CIA on giving up on that after however many fucking years, right? But even still, oh, he went all out for that one. All right. Focus is going to be on driving right now. What's up, player? What's going on? What's up? That was a good front running race. I'm not sure if I'm lagging or if everybody else is lagging, or if it's just the one guy. Okay. Second place. That didn't seem right. Oh well. We'll see how it shakes out. Looks like the room might have split. It is hot today. Jesus Christ. It's supposed to be like the last super duper hot day before the fall weather kind of comes around, which I am glad about, but also it's kind of inconvenient because I'm streaming. Jesus Christ, it's supposed to be 95 degrees until like 6 p.m. That ain't good. Okay. Ooh. That was fine for me, I think. Been racing really good. It'd be a shame if a blue shell came and ended it all. Okay, there's the shock. No, I didn't get the trick. That's not good. Somebody's gonna do the shortcut here, maybe? Or not, and I just get first. Okay. I was literally prepared for a blue shell to come and ruin my day, and for me to just be like, prophecy is not a gift, it's a curse, or some shit. You know. Five people, huh? Yeah. You know, I was thinking, even as I was playing, I was thinking a little bit about growing the channel and reading and like volunteering. All three things that I want to do, but it's hard to do that balancing it with a lot of other stuff as well, right? Like the job application. Applying for jobs is a very fucking involved process, you know, more so than I don't know. More so than a lot of other stuff. But what I think I might do is, like, take a week or so just to stop applying for jobs for a little bit and like, read and focus on video editing. Dang it. Getting Mario Karted. Better earlier than later. That's fine. Okay. Go, Suede. Oh, shit. He got me. No! Getting Mario Karted again. That guy's building a lead. Because you guys are focusing on me instead. Golden Mushroom. It's a 5-player room, so there can't be shots. Do some of this. There we go, back in second. Blood just hit a wall for some reason? Okay. Thankfully did not get powed. Nice. Okay. First place. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm glad that the VR gain and loss is lopsided in favor of more people gaining VR. That makes the game a lot easier to engage with. Even though it actually doesn't mean anything. You know, however contrarian I want to be on that front, and I do want to be contrarian, people do, like, take VR into account when they're making decisions in game. You know? Like, it's a thing. I think I'm gonna do a few more. 4 people. Okay. Fish Prism. I think I recognize this guy. I think I'm gonna go till, like, 1 hour 45 and then end it there, because I don't want to... I want to take a break from the heat. I won't do a full-length stream, and I've gone through everything that I wanted to talk about, really. I think, as much as I talked up my, like, DNC speech reacts, I think the combined, like, 8-ish hours of footage of me reacting to the DNC live as it's happening is more than enough, and I've said all what I wanted to say. I don't think I would have that much to add even if I watched the 2 speeches of Sean Fain and AOC, or actually the 3. Sean Fain, AOC, and Tim Walz. And, you know, I have that little addendum lined up as a segment. Even though I said it wasn't going to be a segment, I feel like I communicated my thoughts in such a way that I was, like, really happy with it. So. Let's go, baby. My man's on the Dino Jungle tree. SpongeBob. I just saw that. I just saw the SpongeBob. That's a really good SpongeBob face. So much so that it looks out of place on, like, a me character, you know? PC and Mario Circuit. Housing Castle 3. Okay. Just don't majorly fuck up. Try not to get fucked up. Okay. You go first. No, I fucked up. I thought I had the alignment, but there's a number of angles that you can actually approach that shortcut from and have a good alignment. Chain this here. He probably has a shock, maybe. Yep. Knew it. What's up, bro? Bullet bill. Oh, this is a perfect spot to use it. If I just do this, that gets me through there. Cool. Ow. Let me get rid of that. Fish prism. I'm glad I started using it there and not in a worse position. Oh, baby. That's perfect. Give me this item. I'm gonna use this here. Seems like a strange choice, but... Alright. Ooh. I timed those red shells really well. The problem is I just got there a little bit too late. If I had got him on the line, that would have been very funny. Having gone for the shortcut lap 1, failed it, and then I still get first because of the cheekiest red shell combo of all time. Very cheeky indeed. You know, if I read stuff, I'll have more to talk about too. That's one of the reasons I want to get back into reading stuff. I've read a little bit over the weekend at SmashCon of the mass psychology of fascism. So far, so good, actually. I want to read that one affordable housing study. I started reading a couple affordable housing studies. I talked about them a little bit on stream like a couple months ago. But then there's one about rent in the USSR that I didn't get around to reading, and I want to read that because rent in the USSR was $10 a month, and that's in Moscow. Adjusted for inflation, that'd be like what, $50 today? $20, $50? Anywhere from that range, that's the kind of rent that you could expect to pay in the USSR. The quality of these apartments, not great by any stretch, but it was a massive upgrade to the sort of peasant village kind of living that existed in the Russian Empire beforehand. It was part of a mass housing project that I think the US could stand to learn from, as much as it has its flaws and whatnot. I didn't mean to hover around that guy for as long as I did. I just wanted to get some speed up and then hopefully get rid of that red shell. Okay. Cut inside this rock. That's a big shortcut. You see something? Thought I just saw something on the floor there. Like a bug or something, but I don't think I did. I think it was my eyes playing tricks on me. Ooh, Mega Mushroom. I think I'm gonna retain this. Almost. Fucked up. Why did you do that? You can't do that, Shrimless. Or can you? Maybe if you're like a god gamer, you can do it shroomless, but it just seems like it's not worth it. Alright, this next one will be my last race. Yeah. That one, housing study, and then the mass psychology of fascism. Intend to revisit that. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask some people in, like, the political spaces I know, other people who are socialists, whose opinions I tend to, like, compare and contrast, like, basically use as guidelines, because obviously, like, my opinions don't exist in a vacuum. I'm informed by both my priors and the opinions of other people that I see and how well those exist with my priors, and by priors I mean, like, axioms and stuff. Might ask them. So it's like housing study, mass psychology of fascism, Rosa Luxemburg, and then other stuff generally. Because I always want to keep reading and keep getting smarter, especially if I'm going to be talking about politics a lot. I want to be able to know what I'm talking about and also know what I'm talking about so much that I can talk about it in a way that sounds really simple, right? One thing I learned when I was going through school, like high school and college both, is that it's one thing to know a subject, it's another thing to be such a master of a subject that you can make other people enjoy it and make it sound simple and easy. And make it simple and easy for other people to engage with. And I want to be able to reach that level, you know? Because all the teachers that I had massive respect for, all the professors that I had massive respect for, they all had that in common. That they would make the subject feel easy, and seem fun, too. You know? What's up, Fish Prism? Please throw that forward. Fish Prism, I swear to God. If there's not a shock, I know where I'm going to use this mushroom. And luckily, the shock happened immediately afterwards, so okay, whew. I got a banana, don't worry yourself, Freak Bob. Okay. Wait, what? First? I don't get it. Did I get that much of a lag start? Oh well, I'll take it. Sure. Ending on a pretty good note. Let's get out of here. Shame that I'm getting out of here at 12 players, but it's an hour 45. It's only about 15 minutes less than I usually stream. It is hot in my room. I need to, like, get ice cream or something. Not that much in the way of stuff to talk about today because I'm more thinking about, like, editing and stuff. I guess you guys got a window into my analysis of the game, and you know, commentary to that effect. You got a window into what's going on in my personal life and whatever. I talked about some stuff, and I'm happy with my thoughts on that. So, live right now, Joey. You know what? No raid today. I'm just gonna say thank you for tuning in. People who tuned in every so often to the stream. I'll see you next time, which is probably going to be Friday. I probably will have more to talk about then because, you know, news cycle tends to move quickly.